Hi, I'm Trista Engel, CEO of Paragon Legal, and welcome to GC Sidebar, a short and sharp conversation series with today's most forward-thinking General Counsel. In just 4 questions, we cover the legal industry, leadership, careers, and a little fun. Today, I'm joined by Bita Goldman, Global General Counsel at UNiDAYS, the world's leading student affinity network serving over 20 million members across 115 markets. Bita began her legal career at the Urban Justice Center representing victims of domestic violence, and later moved in-house to Quantum Networks. She rose to her first general counsel position at Quantum before joining UNiDAYS in 2018. She leads a global legal function, speaks at industry conferences, parents 5 kids from ages 2 to 11, does executive coursework at HBS, and still manages to find time to share her wisdom with us. Bita, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to be here.
What's the biggest challenge facing GCs and in-house legal teams today?
I think the biggest challenge that in-house legal teams face is the shift in how legal teams are viewed. Historically, in-house legal was a reactive function. Something went wrong, the legal team was called in. And now we're more like strategic innovators. We're embracing technology, whether it's AI, we're navigating global complexity. We're talking about privacy laws across the world. And so from the outset, GCs need to step out of that comfort zone of, this is legal and this is not, but really think strategically about balancing risk and growth for the business to make sure that we're able to enable the business to move forward successfully with what they're trying to do.
I love that. It's so important. It is a big shift, and legal really has a vantage point across the entire business, which gives it that sort of unique perspective that you're talking about. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned as a GC?
I don't know if it's as a GC or as I've gotten older, but I've learned to be patient. Be patient and be solution-oriented. GCs need to be level-headed. They need to be practical problem solvers. And when a crisis comes up or when an issue happens, moving too fast, wanting to make a point, not really taking a second to breathe and assess the situation will actually hurt you in the long run. So I would say the most valuable lesson I've learned as a GC is to pause, take a second, reassess what's going on, and think long term. You don't need to be reactive in your decision making.
That's great advice for so many things in work and in life, but particularly when dealing with challenges at work. For folks who are high achievers, who are fast movers, it can be really hard to remember to pause.
Yeah, that's it. You have to have a steady hand, and the business has to see you as that steady hand.
What's one career moment that changed your trajectory?
I love that you asked this question. So I became a VP of operations when I joined Quantum Networks. The business was an e-com business, and they were one of Amazon's leading sellers. I stepped into a role that I had no experience doing. So it seemed like I was being derailed from my legal career. But at the same time, it was probably the moment that changed my trajectory. I started to understand how the law intersects with business. I started to think about the bigger picture. And Trista, you talked about this at the beginning. You're in-house, you're in a position where you are across every function and you're working with all different teams. And becoming a VP of operations where I was managing a warehouse, I was doing hiring, I had managed, aged inventory. I started to have a business mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset to how I was going about things. Every day when I look at a commercial contract or when someone on my team brings me a legal issue, I'm put back into that VP of operations role. I'm thinking, how is this going to affect our work? How is it going to affect efficiency? What kind of cost is this going to come with? And the legal risks that come with that, but giving me that holistic view of what we're here to do and what the business is here to do has been tremendous.
That's fantastic. I've heard and spoken to people who have taken on roles outside of their comfort zone and in different practice areas or focus areas within legal. This is something else entirely. That's so cool. I mean, you really got to see how the business runs. What a great way to get that real operational business understanding that I'm sure has been invaluable in your role. What's something people watching might not know about you?
I'm 5'3". but I played point guard for my high school basketball team. And my kids make fun of me about it because they just think it's hilarious that someone so small was point guard. But it was a great opportunity to get out there and be in it. And I think that was the early signs of being a lawyer, right? We can handle the heat. We can handle the pressure. We need to know where everything is, so we have an eye on, where to pass the ball or what's going on. But most people would not believe me, but I've got my jacket and I've got my my history there at high school. So it was a great experience. Definitely built up a lot of character in me.
You must be exceptionally talented at basketball.
Come over, we'll shoot some hoops.
I will take you up on that. I am a huge proponent of the learnings that you get from team sports. So I love what you said about seeing the whole court and knowing where to pass. I think that there's so many business and life skills to be learned from those experiences. All right. And the bonus question, who is your favorite fictional lawyer?
My favorite fictional lawyer, I was like, oh, but it's people from Suits, because sometimes I pretend I'm in Suits, but then I realize I'm not. And then I thought, no, it must be, and I started thinking about all these different shows and movies, the ways that lawyers are portrayed. But really, at the heart of it, I am Vinny Gambini from My Cousin Vinny. Because I grew up in New York, I get the attitude, I get that sometimes you just have to be relentlessly dedicated to something, and, who doesn't love like an underdog lawyer? So I would have to say that's my favorite one.
You're going to have to start putting on the accent.
It's funny, my kids go to New York City now, and they are not big fans. They say, oh, it smells, or, they don't love it, and it actually hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
It's the place on earth for me.
That's amazing. Oh, that was really fun, Bita. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, your journey. That was great.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of GC Sidebar. Catch more great conversations on our website at paragonlegal.com. Thanks for tuning in.